Hey friends, it has been a minute. I was trying to think when the last time I made a video, when that was, and I don't think it's been a year. I think maybe it's been a year, but it's been at least several months. It's been a long time since I've made a video. I think this is my longest break from posting anything on YouTube, except for maybe some shorts in the summer. Been the longest break that I can remember since I started making videos. So I wanted to hop on to say hi and also to give you all an update about some things that are going on, some things that I've been working on, and what you can expect next from this channel if you are somebody who is still subscribed despite this very long absence of mine. So first of all, everything is good. I'm fine. Life is good overall. Illustration work has been really busy and that's been good. There's no big problem or, existential, maybe existential crisis. I do love to have an existential crisis, but, there's no problem that has been keeping me from YouTube. It's just that I have not wanted to make videos, and I'm going to be just super honest and frank with you guys here today. And, I'm assuming that everybody who's watching this is, a longtime subscriber, or, you at least kind of know what you're in for. This is going to be a little bit of a chatty update. So if this is your first experience stumbling onto my channel and this is the first video you're seeing, I don't know, good luck. So for everybody who has been on this journey, who's been here for a while, who has seen the variety of different types of videos that I've made vlogs, I've made tutorials, actual art drawing tutorials, and then more businessy practical things like how to make an invoice or how to find clients or whatever. And then I've made some content that's about more feelings and inner critic and dealing with being somebody who has maybe overthinks things a bit, or who struggles to get started creatively. And I think what I've been realizing over this last year, honestly, it's really been a couple of years, I feel like, that I've been in kind of an adolescence of sorts with my YouTube channel, where I just feel like things are changing, and I know I'm not wanting to just burn it to the ground. I don't hate YouTube or anything. I just have felt like I can tell that the ground is shifting, and I'm not really sure. I've been kind of a little bit confused, deer in the headlights, about how to decide what I need to do next and what needs to happen next for, this kind of work. At least I think I usually feel relatively clear about, what I'm doing with illustration work and kind of where I'm going with that, and with painting and things I'm working on with that. But this kind of content is always a little bit murkier for me. So it takes me just kind of a while to figure it out. So, I think what has become clear to me over the last 6 months, probably, I've been in this place of something's not quite right for a couple of years, but it's only in the last few months that I've been realizing okay, I think really the issue is that I just don't want to keep making some of this kind of work, some of the kind of work that I've been making, I just don't really want to make right now. And maybe I'm not sure if I'll ever want to make it again, but vlogs, I don't really think there probably will be any more vlogs on this channel. And, maybe that will change. I don't know. I always like to leave a door open. Maybe that will change, but it's not going to be part of what you see regularly for, the foreseeable future. And the same would go for, how to write an invoice, or how to do a contract, or how to send a client email. And that's not because I don't think those things are important anymore. I do think they're important, but I've made that content a lot of times already. And, I don't really have anything else to say yet on those things. And I think if I do, I probably will, put some of that kind of stuff more in a class, or, maybe even on social media, on Instagram or TikTok or something. I think what is becoming clear is that the kind of conversations that I want to have, the kinds of things that I'm really interested in, the kinds of things that I want to be able to think more deeply about and connect with you all over are things that kind of, well, I don't know if you can see it behind me or if it's going to be backwards or what, but there's a little there's a thing up there that says, it's a Venn diagram that I made that's, art and feelings. And I've realized that a lot of the videos, the classes that I've made, the content that I've created, the things that I've written that fit in that Venn diagram, that fit in the middle of that Venn diagram that have to do with, art and emotions, art and feelings are the things that I care about the most and are things that I'm the most interested in. So, make some of the videos would be like the inner critic videos that I've made, dealing with inner critic, practices for dealing with an inner critic, even some of the more personal ones about how I got started in art and how, I am somebody who can tend to get really stuck and have had to work on practices to get past that stuckness. I'm not somebody who's had like a super traditional art path, creative path of creative career. So, things that fit it more in that, in the center of that Venn diagram that are issues that have to do with our feelings and emotions that come up when we're trying to make creative work. And especially, I think probably because I am one of these people, I felt like especially for people who tend to get, kind of stuck around those things, stymied by those things. So, all that to say, I am going to be making more of those kinds of videos, and there will be videos here, but this is also going to be a podcast. And I'm recording this after I've just recorded the first episode of the podcast, which will also be a video, but I'm going to be looking at my notes and whatever. You'll see. It's a work in progress. It's something that will, I'm sure, shift as I kind of find my voice in it and figure out how I want to do it. But that's what this new setup is about. It's one that's geared towards capturing really high quality audio as well as video. So, so that is coming soon. I think. I don't know if I want to tell you guys. Should I commit to it? I'm going to commit to it. If I have to change it, I'll change it. But the first episode is going to drop on March 21st. And I unfortunately don't have a title yet to share with you because I'm feeling very indecisive about that. And I had a title picked, and then I found out that somebody had actually already made a podcast with that title, and they hadn't updated it in 3 years, but still, so I couldn't use that title. And then I chose another title. And then last night I was, just pulling out my hair over it and feeling like it wasn't right. So, I'm holding on telling you the title, but I'm essentially moving towards making podcast content that will also have video content. So it will be similar to this. You'll see the same kind of setup, and we'll be talking about some of those same kinds of things. So, dealing with a really strong inner critic and, what to do when you're experiencing art block and, ways to get yourself unstuck from art block and, what happens if you are struggling with perfectionism, different kinds of perfectionism, and guilt, feeling guilty for making art. Basically just all of these challenging, difficult emotions that can come up when we make art, when we attempt to engage in a creative practice. And something else I'm really excited about it with, and something that is different, and I want to give you guys a heads up about, is that there will, not in every episode, most episodes will just be me talking, and it'll be under 30 minutes. It's going to be tight, folks. So most episodes will just be me talking and a little bit more structured, of course, than this is right now. This is totally unstructured. I have no notes. I have actually been working really hard on kind of clarifying ideas and tightening ideas because I do want them to be, genuinely helpful for you. But in addition to that, there will be some guests at times. And one of the guests will be my brother, who I think I've talked about before. He's a therapist who specializes in anxiety and anxiety disorders. And I have other creative friends who would describe themselves, similar to how I would describe myself, as being somebody who, always really wanted to make creative work and always felt really creative, but really struggled with actually doing it. And so I'll have conversations with other folks who are maybe in other creative, who aren't necessarily visual artists, who are going through that same thing. And then other people who kind of straddle that, art and mental health, art and feelings, Venn diagram. So most of it will be yours truly, just sitting here talking about those concepts and trying to translate, really specific, concrete practices that have been helpful for me in getting unstuck in all these different areas, and that I hope will be helpful for you in some ways. And then with an occasional guest appearance. So I'm really excited about it, and I can't remember the last time I felt this excited about making this kind of content, about making video content. And I think part of it is because I feel like it's it hits at that point of wanting to make work that would have really been game changing for me if I had seen it at the right time. And, I know we're all so different, and, nothing is universal, but I feel like the best you can do if you're trying to do what I'm trying to do, which is I feel cringy when I even say it, which is give advice about creativity. The best you can hope to do is share your own experience and what's worked for you, and distill any knowledge or wisdom that you've gained for it. And there's nothing that's universal, nothing that's going to be a one size fits all that helps everybody. But I do feel like there is not as much out there. And I've even been rereading some books on creativity and on creative practice to remind myself of this. I feel like there's not a lot out there for folks who are like me, for folks who did really kind of have failure to launch for a number of years, who really did a lot of starting and stopping, and, who only, I don't know, I don't this is a bit on the woo-woo side for me, but I feel like, part of the reason why I even ended up being able to make art was, something that had nothing to do with me. It was, getting sick and being forced to accept my own limitations and, stop being so hung up on perfectionism, and just, start little bit by little bit and embrace incrementalism, even if I did it kicking and screaming. And I think there's just not a ton out there for those folks, for folks who are, sensitive and overthinking and, tend to get hung up on those things. And even ones that are helpful, like books that I have found helpful. I just, reread Art and Fear, which is an old one. It's classic. It is an excellent book, and you should read it. But, for me, it's missing, a lot of the very concrete, well, actually, how do you do that though? And I feel like that's what I needed at the time. And I remember reading that book when I was in my early 20s, and I think I read it in art school, and it was great, and I felt inspired, but I had no idea what to do with it. And similar with, I read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, which is also great, Big Magic, and I would recommend it too, but it feels like there's missing pieces in that for me. And, there's a little bit of it that's maybe a bit too, not specific, a little too woo for me. And again, it can be great for other people. I know other people have it's been exactly what they've needed. Same thing with The Artist's Way. I've just been kind of going back to revisiting a lot of these things and reminding myself oh yeah, none of these really had it for me. None of these really, there were parts of them that hit that note, but it feels like it feels like they're made for a different kind of creative person. So, and what I'm hoping to be able to do is to make my own little version of it. And I'm not saying make one that's better. Those are all, incredibly accomplished, much more accomplished than me, creative folks. But, to do my version of it and to fill in the missing pieces for me. And I hope that there'll be people out there for whom that will matter and will connect and will help them. And, so I'm excited to be able to make work that I care about and work that really matters to me on a deep level. And I hope if you have been around for a while, you will stick with this, even though it's going to look a little bit different. And, if you want to listen rather than watch. That'll be something you can do now too. I'll have it up. I don't actually, somebody else is helping me with this, thank goodness, or it would not get done. But yeah, it's going to be up on all the major podcast platforms. So, on March 21st, you'll be able to subscribe to it, and I will announce the title on TikTok and Instagram, and I'll probably hop back on here to announce the title as well, once I have it. And, yeah, I guess, my request, if I can make a request after I have, been MIA for so long, is that if that kind of content, if like those videos that I've made in the past about, some of the challenging emotions that come up with art making, if that has helped you to give this new format a try, even though it is a little bit different, and then potentially to help me get the word out. If there are people, if you have creative friends who are struggling to maintain a creative practice, people who want to make art, but don't, and I think we all know those kinds of people, or, maybe they do it in one area of their life and they have the thing that they always want to do, but they just, it never seems quite, the timing never seems quite right. They never seem to quite be able to get it off the ground. So if you can think of those kinds of people, to share it with them. And, yeah, I guess beyond that, if you want to say hi in the comments, I'd love to see you there. And, if there are topics that you can think of too, that connect, that would land in the middle of that art, in the middle of that Venn diagram, that art and feelings Venn diagram, let me know what those are. I have a whole huge list that I have brainstormed, tons of ideas. And, the podcast, like most podcasts, is going to be, maybe it's not most podcasts, like some podcasts, is going to be done on a season by season basis. So this first season is going to be relatively short. It's going to be 8 episodes. And then I'm going to work on a longer season over the summer. So yeah, if you have ideas for future seasons, season 1 is all planned out already. But if you have ideas for future seasons, topics that you would be interested in hearing about, let me know. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. Oh man, it's only 17 minutes. This isn't even that long. I thought I was going to be on here for like 45 minutes. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I hope I will see you on the next leg of the journey. Bye.